Hi, welcome to Cruis'n with Chrissy. I'm Christina, or also Chrissy, and today I want to talk about travel insurance. Should you get it? Should you not? Is it worth it? Would you normally get it when you travel? Well, let me tell you about a couple experiences that I've had and why now I will never travel without having travel insurance. So, funny story is last year we had a Royal Caribbean cruise booked for Stephen and I, and the night before we were to leave, Sir Stephen fell in the shower and hurt his hip, and we didn't know, the extent of it. And as a typical male, sorry, not man bashing, but if you know, you know. Typical male, he didn't want to go to the doctor. He was fine. But as the pain set in and time, and then when he tried to get up throughout the night, he just couldn't. And so we didn't know, did he hurt his hip to the extent that he wasn't going to be able to go on the trip? We were already packed. We had everything paid for, airfare, cruise, hotel stay, everything. And it was going out of Miami, I believe. So the next morning, we're already packed, and he's like, I can't go. You need to go on without me. There's no reason for you not to go. So not only was it was kind of scary because I didn't want to leave him, not knowing what the severity of his injury was. But yet we didn't have travel insurance, and we were going to lose thousands of dollars on this travel that we had planned. So I went ahead, and it was my first solo trip. Yes, this girl went on a Royal Caribbean cruise by herself. And besides the fact that he was injured, I had a great time. And that's going to be another video, is solo cruising or solo travel. So I went on my own, and, a couple of things that we learned too is for the hotel stay, when I got, the flights were fine, got to the hotel stay, went to go sign in, and he had booked it under his name. So he had to call and let them know that he wasn't able to travel for whatever reason, and that I was going to be checking in the hotel myself. And so that was kind of an issue, but the hotel was good, and I was fine and stayed the night. And then the next morning I got up and went to the cruise port by myself, and it was a 7-day Royal Caribbean ship. And again, I had the time of my life by myself, but I was always thinking about Stephen, and I kept in constant contact with him too. So we had paid for 2 passengers. The only thing is that you don't get a refund, because again, we didn't buy the insurance. We were always that couple who said, we don't need insurance. But so I went sailing, went on the trip as normal, again, kept in constant contact with Stephen. He ended up going to the doctor that afternoon after I left, and luckily he didn't break anything. He was just a severe sprain. But it took a while. He was on crutches, and luckily I had family here. My daughter and son helped him out while I was gone. He took care of the babies, or the fur babies. And so if we had had insurance, then we could have made a claim on that to hopefully get refunded for our airfare, the hotel, and the cruise. But again, we didn't. So we were out his portion of the airfare. We were out his portion of the cruise fare, which, I mean, it would have been the same if I would have just gone on my own, because solo travel on most cruise ships are at 200% that you have to pay, because you're paying for a two-person. Some of the solo studios with like NCL and some other cruises, Virgin Voyage, they have a single supplement, so it's a little bit cheaper. But most of the time you're paying for two, even though it's just one. The hotel stay would have been regardless. I mean, whether you have one or two people, it was the same. But we would have been able to file a claim and hopefully got some of reimbursement back. But we opted, you know, again, that was on us. So, again, I went on to the cruise, had a great time, and came back home, and that was that. But that was my solo experience for my first time, and the first time that we needed to utilize insurance and we didn't have it. And then my second story on whether you should have travel insurance or not is, again, you never know when you're going to need it. And if you've watched any of our other videos, you'll notice that earlier in the year, we had an incident on board MSC Meraviglia. Yeah, Meraviglia. And so we left out of New York on a Sunday. It was great. And Monday was a day at sea. So we were just going around the ship, having fun, taking videos, doing our thing, sightseeing around the different shops, being silly. And Sir Stephen, once again, you know, and it was very innocent. He stepped down from a step or a stoop and he rolled his ankle. It immediately had a big goose egg. And if you go back, look at the videos, because I tell you, you can see it. So we had to have someone come out and get him with a wheelchair. We tried to walk it off. But again, I'm a nurse as well. I retired from healthcare, and I knew that he needed to get it checked out. So someone came and got him, tried to walk it. He couldn't. We stopped and they went and got a wheelchair and pushed him down to medical. And he was in severe pain. He was also kind of in shock. Every time he stepped, you know, he had that pain. He kind of got cold and clammy, and it was just a bad experience overall for that, a poor guy. So we got down to medical, and you know, they had ice on him. They offered to x-ray. We did turn that down because the doctor didn't think that it was broken. He thought it was just a severe sprain as well, with that immediate goose egg. So they wrapped his foot with the bandage and put him on some crutches and gave him 3 or 4 days worth of an anti-inflammatory pain medicine. And that was how he spent our first experience on MSC, is on crutches. And bless his heart, I tried to get him to leave and go home once we got to the next port, but he was like, no, I'm going to be in pain at home. I'm going to be in pain on here. So we're just I'm going to live with it. And he did really good. He and the staff on the MSC Meraviglia was amazing. I couldn't ask for better help with him if he would have been in a hospital, because they were constantly giving him ice for his ankle without even being asked. Everybody was asking him how he was feeling, how he was doing. So it was a good experience overall for a bad situation. But we did have trip insurance, travel insurance. So that was something that really paid off, because it just takes one trip to medical, and that policy is your golden ticket, because it's expensive. you can't even go down to medical without having a bill for a Band-Aid or nausea medicine or whatever it may be. I mean, you see all of these stories where it was 30, 40, 50,000 if somebody got sick on board and had to be airlifted back to a port. You know, it is very expensive. And also, you have to pay for your service or your care before you leave the boat. So if you have an extra 3,000, 5,000, whatever it may be to settle your bill, you know, that's where travel insurance really comes in place. So should you get it? Should you not get it? That's up to you. But I, as a travel advisor, highly recommend it. And especially as we get older, travel insurance is just a little bit more of a safety net, because it just takes that one misstep like Stephen did to roll his ankle. It could have been broke. I've heard of people having seizures on board, having medical emergencies, chest pain, whatever it may be, and they need to have medical attention, and your healthcare insurance will not cover while you're on board. It's just the way it is. And so travel insurance is relatively inexpensive. Again, there's a lot of different factors on the fare, cruise fare, the length of the travel that you're on, and it just doesn't cover a medical emergency, which is good. But if there was something that your baggage got lost, or you missed a port, if your plane got in late, and there's a lot of variances or variables that your travel insurance will cover depending on which policy you choose. And as a travel advisor, I am not a licensed insurance salesman, so I can't tell you which plan is better for you. Only you can do your research. And that's what you need to do is as a travel advisor, through Dream Vacations. Again, I own my own travel agency, Cruis'n with Chrissy, Dream Vacations, and I can offer you leisure care, which is what the travel insurance that we provide to you at cost. And you can look at what they cover versus what the cruise lines travel policy covers, or you can get your own travel protection. If you are an avid cruiser like we are, and we cruise anywhere from 2 to 8, 10 times a year. Last year I was on 7 sailings. So you can get an annual travel plan as well. So if you're planning on more than one vacation in a year, it kind of makes sense to do an annual policy. And again, do your research, look at all of the provisions, what the exclusions are, and that's going to be your best bet. Again, I will never travel again. Stephen will never travel again without having travel protection. Now, some credit cards that you may use to purchase your travel on will cover certain parts of your trip. They do, I know the one that we use is a Chase Sapphire card, and it does have travel protection to an extent. Not the whole travel, but if something was to happen with our airfare or our luggage, then they do cover that. The cruise fare, if for some reason we don't get to port on time, they will help get us there or reimburse. So it just depends, read that policy. But it's a good piece of advice to have in your back pocket. Just some good protection. So what else can I tell you about travel insurance? Again, it's really inexpensive to what it could be. So, and if you're travel over 40 or over 50 like we are, it's a very good idea. I highly recommend it. And if you're looking for travel advice, if you have questions of travel, or if you're ready to book your next vacation, give me a call, or you can email me, or you can look on my website at cruisinwithchrissy.com, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. All right, fellow travelers, happy travels. Bye-bye.